Doma Sports Talk, worldwide, with some news from the world of boxing. So y'all know what time it is. You ain't in a rush to get concussed. Now, just say this on the up with nobody care about it, but who cares? French Open going on. And the last four is Djokovic versus Dominic Thiem, right? That's going to be the one semifinal, and we know the other one's Federer and Nadal. So if you ain't tuned in to French Open so far, starting tomorrow, you better get with it because the semifinals are going down, and the top four players on clay right now, that's them, and they made it through. So it's going to be going down in a minute. Now, let's get to your boy Gennady Golovkin. Your boy Gennady Golovkin, was a middleweight champion and was considered formidable. Some had even said he was one of the best middleweights, not the best in the last 25 years. And we thought that was kind of early. A lot of people thought that was kind of early. That's why I'm saying we, me included, was kind of early. I don't think he proved that, and he wasn't ready to take risk, right, to prove that. Most of the fights, he was walking people with lesser opponents down, smaller opponents. But still, I always would say this. I don't think everybody would have had the Gennady Golovkin run if they had the same opponents, which means he's still an awesome dude, right? Now, he has a fight coming up this weekend against Steve Rose. I'm not watching that live, okay? Let me make that sure that's clear. I'm not watching that live. How that happened, what the hell are you doing fighting him? The dude's 37 years old, undefeated, but with nobody on his resume. Gennady Golovkin, if he won big things, Demetrius Andre was there to take the WBO title, or anybody, your mandatory and Jamal Charlo. And the way he's fighting, you had Matt Rosen just before Canelo. Why do you need another Matt Rosen? Then they fighting at 164 pounds, not even getting down to 160. Those are things that are telling me you don't want to do nothing. And now they're going to allow him because the zone where they're fighting for, they need good fights, and they think that the public wants to see Gennady Golovkin versus Canelo, the third fight. Golovkin, only argument he has here is he arguably won both of those fights. For me, he won the first one and tied the second one. For a lot of people have the same opinion. Some think Canelo, because he stood in there in the pocket and was walking Gennady Golovkin down in the second fight, that he won the fight. I beg to differ. He looked good in the fight, but I think it was a tie. But whatever, and I don't think the title should have changed hands. But so, used to be a Gennady Golovkin fan, not really now, but he's still a decent boxer. It's just not must-see TV, not against a Steve Rose. If he would have said Charlo or Demetrius Andre, not just lately, but even before, right? I've been seeing since Kell Brook, basically let everybody know if you're his size and got some talent, you're gonna be up in his butt, basically. Since then, he's not fighting anybody that can fight back or walk him down unless their name is Canelo, because he can get paid doing that. I know I'm repeating myself, but I want to make that clear because Gennady Golovkin has said some things about the heavyweight champ or former heavyweight champ being Anthony Joshua, right? He said Anthony Joshua looked terrible, right? He said he looked terrible. And he said in another article, he said, but you shouldn't underestimate his opponent and looking past his opponent. You just don't do that. Those are things he's saying about Anthony Joshua. But he went one further. This was kind of telling. He said, another thing, he's fighting not in his hometown, but they have different doping test procedures. Different doping test procedures, guys, in America. And he's probably not used to that. All right? So, he didn't go further than that. I'm just saying when you're getting these hints, because that's the same hint that Dillian White done gave us last week, again this week, saying, hey, he couldn't have the juice. So that's why he wasn't doing stuff. Now people be like, well, man, the UKAD, they test 365 days a year. The one, in the United Kingdom, anti-doping. Well, do they tell them before they come? Who knows why, whatever. And Vada tested before the Andy Ruiz fight. So it's like Joshua's been getting tested, at least that's what they're telling us. But those are two decent boxers. Gennady Golovkin, to even say that, you would leave it alone. But to say they have different doping test procedures after Dillian White has said something similar, then your antenna goes up. And they don't say go all the way up, but it better go up a little bit, or she would just be naive. Right? So we don't want to be naive. Just keep your eye on that. Somebody else has said that. Now he goes a little bit further. He says, listen, man, I trained with Andy Ruiz Jr. right before. So I wasn't surprised at this outcome. And I've heard that from other people too, like Al Heyman. I've heard of somebody who is close to Al Heyman also saying he wasn't surprised at that at all. that was a dangerous fight for Joshua to be taking Andy Ruiz Jr. on 4 weeks' notice. So, but at the end of the day, here's the thing: you're a great boxer. You can take people whenever. Lennox Lewis took Vitaly Klitschko on some very short notice, right? But we noticed that he had a hard time, though, didn't we? Right? But some of the great champs come through. Lennox Lewis on that day, everybody's like, Vladimir Klitschko, I mean, Vitaly, not Vladimir. Vitaly Klitschko, they had him. He was winning the fight and all that. Unmotivated Lennox Lewis, with a little heavy, training for Kirkland, but not really, just beat Mike Tyson, about to retire, is not motivated to fight no Vitaly Klitschko, and he didn't know that Vitaly Klitschko was going to be this guy, Vitaly Klitschko, right? So you went in there unprepared, not really fit. But what does Lennox Lewis do? Oh, I'm not going to fight Lennox Lewis outside chess game. I'm going to put my hands up and go ahead and try to brawl with this guy today. That's what he did. That wouldn't even look like Lennox Lewis. But he was able to do that and mess his eye up good enough to where it was like, hey, you want your eye later? Because you can fight and be one-eyed, or you can stop because you're about to have one eye. So they went with the eye, right? And after they went with the eye, then, Vitaly acted up like he wanted to keep fighting, but you're a doctor. You know better. Because the funny thing about that, even though I'm a Vitaly fan, is he was winning against Chris Bird, somebody who can't hurt him. Chris Bird, little old Chris Bird, in the last round of their fight. And he had a shoulder injury, right? And couldn't fight one round with one arm against Chris Bird. I didn't say Mike Tyson, right? I didn't say Lennox Lewis on the other side, right? I said Chris Bird, a former middleweight. So, that thing about wanting to fight Lennox Lewis and just stopping there, when you win in a fight, Chris Bird, you got him. The fight is done. All you got to do is go 3 minutes with one arm. Deontay Wilder would have done that. That's the only thing you can ever say about Vitaly Klitschko, though, because Vitaly Klitschko has a big heart and a chin. But the point being is Lennox Lewis done what was necessary to win the damn fight. You know what I mean? And that was the point with that. So going back to Andy Ruiz and them and your boy, what he's thinking about the fight with Joshua and Andy Ruiz. Golovkin says the man is terrible, and he wasn't surprised at the outcome. But John Golovkin talking like this right now, actually, you can go back to saying, well, who really cares, right? Because you don't look too good trying to fight Steve Rhodes yourself. That's why I led with that, right? Because he's dishing it out, which make sure this is clear too. Boxers get asked these questions, right? So it's not like he's going out and he's just, blurting this out. Somebody's probably asked him and he's answering the questions. And Joshua did look terrible for some, right? He did look terrible for some. But I think it had more to do with what Ruiz was doing, if you ask me. And that will be proved in the second fight. So, terrible or not, it is what it is. That's what Gennady Golovkin said. And let's keep our antennas up on what this doping issue is. I'm going to keep my eye on that. Doping Sports Talk, worldwide. And I'm about to here, y'all.